Heyo.
Hello.
Welcome to the Rumble. We're back.
Again.
This is the season finale for the Rumble, right? This
Yes, I
is
believe so. We got one more horror rumble.
for for the year. And then we'll reset the following month, of course. We got a great one. I'm kind of bummed that we don't have a full house tonight for such a franchise, and honestly, hopefully we'll be able to pick up our energy and be a little more prepared at the coming shows. But it still should be a fun show.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Got some funny stories and stuff. So
Good. And we've got a great guest, as always. Somebody.
real quick,
Okay.
okay. So my wife surprised me a couple weeks back, and we got a package in the mail, and I'm like, oh shit, what did she order this time? So I call her up and I was like, hey, we got a package in the mail. You know, were you expecting something? And she's like, no, I can't think of anything that I ordered. And I was like, well, it's got your name on it. So she tells me to, open the package. Open the package. And this is what's in there.
Well, let's pull this up here. Oh, is that Jason?
That is Jason.
Cool. Very cool.
So yes, I the rocks that are at the bottom there were in their own little package. So I had to beat my rocks off in a strainer
Oh God.
and clean them, and then clean the
Well,
little receptacle thing. And but yeah, it's a nice little lamp my wife bought me, and as soon as I told her what it was, she's like, oh yeah, I forgot I ordered that for you.
oh,
So it's a nice little surprise.
not Indiana Jones related, but still cool
No,
nonetheless.
but I didn't want to wait another month to show you guys that. So
Yeah, or horror related. Is it
yeah.
not non-horror related? Excuse me. But anyway, very cool. And in the chat, we have Mrs. Channel. Thank you.
So
And I'm sure Noah too.
hello,
Um,
Noah.
Acres of Movies. Thank you for watching.
Hello.
And good buddy Jonathan from Bombastic Reviews.
What's up, Jonathan?
All right. Well, shall we bring on our panelist, our
Yes.
good friend, and show
Yes.
saver on many occasions?
Well, I got a special name for him tonight.
Oh, okay. I was like, do we mention the outfit? We always
Tonight, he is Indiana Schein.
that's so horrible for the buildup you made. That is the worst name.
No, the important thing is there's a younger, more handsome Indiana Jones to carry the reign forward. And that's the most important thing. Truth be told, you guys lied to me. I thought tonight we were discussing the adult series, San Fernando Jones and the Temple of Poon.
Oh my.
I guess I'll talk Indiana Jones.
Okay.
Talk the lesser.
San Fernando Jones. Now, is that person from the San Fernando Valley?
Ron Jeremy is not from San Fernando Valley, so I don't believe so.
Or maybe San Fernando
his character is.
The character is from San Fernando Valley. I used to live in the San Fernando Valley, is why I ask.
Dan, you may want to sue Jack Black for gimmick infringement.
I know. I'm like the king of Hollywood right now. Minecraft is making $1 gazillion. It's just Jack Black ripped me off. I'm gonna do his I still know what you did last summer character. It's gonna take me a while to grow out the dreads though. But if you're patient, it's coming. What up?
What's up, Jay?
We got Jay, Stingray, Ben Grimm in the chat, and Daily Ghost.
What up?
All very good friends. And yeah,
Daily Ghost, who made his horror Rumble debut last month. So
yeah.
if you haven't seen
Psycho
that,
franchise. Sorry, Kory, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, go check that out and check out
Yes.
Daily Ghost.
And real quick, before we forget, after this show, go to Smores Indoors.
Yes. For the Midnight Movie Club. Is
Yes.
that correct, Dan? Yes.
We are watching When Death Calls. And no, there you go. Classic of cinema, Susie Lorraine, Tina Kraus, two great scream queens. Yes. There will
It's
be
nothing but classic cinema on that show.
It's Jim Haggerty.
Oh,
He's the shit.
well,
That's who I think of when I think of classic cinema. Michael Curtiz, Jim Haggerty,
Fuck yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Hitchcock never made When Death Calls. So yeah.
no.
He had an okay career, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Haggerty, Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm waiting on Jim Haggerty he will be directing me in the next Indiana Jones. Short Round is replaced by a creepy puppet, though.
We'll hopefully have the title for that movie by the end of the show.
Hell yeah!
But there are some
in the chat.
Some in the running. All right, so let's get on with this. There's no need to beat around the bush, the gray bush. Since I unfortunately, again, I told you we slacked on this one. More like cock. Am I right?
Fuck yeah.
You're right, Ben Grimm.
Bitchcock is the name of the John Rhys Davies character in our version.
Indiana. I can't do it.
Sala's such a pussy name. Bitchcock. Are you gonna screw with the guy named Bitchcock?
Mm-mm.
Hell no.
No. Because you got to be pretty tough and secure with yourself to walk around with that name.
Hell yeah.
But anyway, I didn't have time to do one of those fancy little
high budget
movies and that I do in like 5 minutes. Didn't even have 5 minutes today.
That's how talented you are, Jess.
Thank you.
It only takes you 5 minutes.
It really doesn't take much longer.
That's what she said.
Oh,
Mrs.
Hey-o.
Channel, can you confirm?
Where's Jay with his hey-o?
Confirm in the chat.
Oh, she must have went to bed, I think.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
It's only going to get worse.
Well, since I didn't have that, I tried to scrounge up something related to it that I already had in the bag. I don't have any Indiana Jones pictures of me on the ride or anything, but I do have, since the franchise is mostly released by Paramount. That is me on the Paramount backlot with the Paramount water tower in the background. I was probably working on a Nickelodeon show or something. I don't remember. But that is, yeah. So
Jess Graham personally killed the monkey in part 2.
Look at those luscious locks you got there, Jess.
I know.
That's
that picture's
Hollywood for you, right?
What's that?
That's early in your Hollywood run.
Not
right?
actually too early. I mean, that's 15 years ago at least.
Okay.
But I had been out there since the early 2000s. That's probably 2009, 2010, if I were to guess.
All right.
What's up, Brian?
But yeah, anything's early days at this point. But there you go. Paramount, their logo always opened up these wonderful movies. And we'll start with the first one, Raiders of the Lost Ark. before they added Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's just Raiders of the Lost Ark.
This is true. This is
At least
true.
they didn't change the actual credits. Oh, there it is. Did I? Brian Trash. Howdy.
Howdy, howdy.
He was short round stunt double.
It's Jim Haggerty's puppet is going to be short round. So, yes.
I'm very little. You cheat very big.
Hell yeah. Or Fox Pixar as short round.
I could see that.
That
There you
is
go.
funny.
Your short round Fox Pixar. Perfect casting.
No Time for Love, Dr. Dan.
But he's got to wear the noise cancellate or the earmuffs.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We're gonna have Jinder Mahal as Kali. It's gonna be good shit.
Kalima. I need a part in this now. I don't want to just produce it.
We'll get you something.
Okay, give me something. You throw it.
I mean, Fairuza Balk is stepping into the Kate Capshaw role.
Oh, that's fancy. It's quite. I don't know. That's a little bit different casting there too.
Nothing says ancient Egypt like Fairuza Balk.
Oh boy. So Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I almost forgot what we were doing today. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes. So with Raiders of the Lost Ark, I mean, obviously this is something everybody has seen, so I think you all will have an opinion on it out there. One thing I always wonder, I mean, Harrison Ford is fantastic, but Tom Selleck was originally cast. And I mean, there's pictures out there of him as Indiana Jones, but
I think there's audition tape that was released in special features as well.
Yeah, Magnum PI, I guess, just it wasn't meant to be. And of course, Harrison Ford steps in, kind of becomes arguably the biggest movie star ever. I mean, he's up there. I kind of wonder, would this have been as big with Tom Selleck?
No,
It's hard to tell.
I don't think it would have been. I think the mustache would have gotten in the way.
I don't know. I mean, I still think this movie was going to be something special no matter what at that time. Steven Spielberg, Tom Selleck is talented. He has charisma. It would have been a little different. It certainly would have sent his career in a vastly different direction.
Which he didn't have a bad career either. And
no, he
still
didn't.
does. I mean, has
but
a good career.
TV is what he's mostly going to be known for at the end of the day.
And 3 Men and a Baby.
Yeah, well, TV is what he's going to most be known for at the end of the day.
And Mr. Baseball.
All good movies, but yeah, Magnum PI, Blue Bloods, all the Western stuff he did. That's probably what he's mostly going to be known for.
What was that sci-fi movie he did? Runaway or Runaways or
Runaway with Gene Simmons and Kirstie Alley. Yeah, that wasn't Raiders of the Lost Ark though, unfortunately. But yeah, I like Tom Selleck. I think it still would have worked. I'm not trying to suggest.
I like Tom Selleck too, but I don't think.
I agree. I think it would have worked too, and I think it would have still been something special. Now we'll never know, but I don't think the height would have been as big up to recent years, at least. It might still be regarded as, those were a great batch of movies, and he might have been able to do the trilogy, but I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know if they would have come back with.
Hey guys, I want to point out here, Kory makes a great point. Had Tom Selleck become Indiana Jones, he never would have been able to get us reverse mortgages.
That's true.
And that would have been a shame.
Yeah.
It would have been a shame.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm going to stand by that. I still think we would have had a classic. But as it is, one thing that I miss nowadays, and Hollywood they don't do it, and when they do, they just can't get it right, is good old-fashioned pulpy adventure stories like this.
Yep.
They don't know how to do it. I think part of that's like technology and, CGI doesn't really gel. when it comes to just somebody falling into a snake pit with just good old fashioned snakes and props and everything, and just exotic locations that over green screen. That's why I think this movie really will probably live forever. I think it's something that, well, I'm sure you two can speak to it as parents. Like, your kids probably love it. I'm just assuming, if they're old enough yet. But
My
Yeah,
son-
mine's not quite old enough to
Okay.
truly appreciate this or even Star Wars yet.
My son likes the Indiana Jones. He's a bigger Star Wars fan than he is Indiana Jones, but
okay, but
he
I'd say
he
timeless,
he
right?
definitely has his favorite of the Indiana Jones movies. So
I don't think that these movies, movies, some of them, will die with time. I mean, as long as we have movies, I think these will be celebrated. Because what could you do different now, even with the $300 million budget, to make it better than Raiders or Temple of Doom?
Well, you can't, and that's key. I think that's the problem with most movies these days. These
Yeah.
$200-300 million budget movies, which even for big blockbusters, it should not cost that much to make a decent movie.
No.
And that is the problem. I think people can't be wowed as we used to be because it's like, oh, well, they just spend a bunch of money and anything we can't believe, that's on a computer then.
Yes.
And honestly, it shows most of the time too, which we'll get into, especially in those later films. But you do make one of my biggest points of this. I do miss the practical effects and in-camera effects and those.
Yeah.
The pulpiness, that's key. I didn't have that word down, but you're right, Dan, that they don't make movies like this anymore. And that's not just nostalgia speaking, I don't think, because there's pieces of it all. It isn't just how the movie's made, but it is a good story. It's an adventure. It's good characters. It's the whole mix done right. And now they just pump shit out. And
I would also say great character actors. I mean, you look at, setting aside Harrison Ford, I mean, you had Ronald Lacey in here from Flesh and Blood and Red Sonja, a lot of great movies as one of the villains. Denholm Elliott, I mean, John Rhys Davies, Karen Allen, I mean, Alfred Molina in one of his first roles. It just, they had so many fantastic character actors that we don't really have anymore, or if we do, they're the ones that are just hanging around, because this cast is amazing. Everybody was memorable, whether they were in it for 2 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. Like, everybody kind of had their moment. And what up, Jake?
hey, Jake, buddy.
Jake,
But yeah, no, I don't talk about these movies a lot, but truthfully, I really love the first three. And I was a kid that watched a lot of older stuff. I mean, like I said, I loved old pulp adventure adaptations. I probably watched the Richard Chamberlain canon films, Alan Quatermain and King Solomon's Mines, as much as I watched these. So I have great memories of these types of films. And I don't know. I wish somebody would take a shot at doing it right again. Because
wasn't there also a couple of movies that had Michael Douglas Romancing the Stone?
Yeah, Jewel of the Nile.
Yeah. Those all came after this.
I think it, yeah. And I mean, you couldn't do it. It'd have to be a period piece. But, there were sections of the world back at that time that still kind of felt,
Unexplored,
untamed and alien to us. And it was, there was still adventure out there in the world. And I think that's something that's very hard. I mean, it kind of died at the end of the 90s. Ben brings up the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies. And I mean, for that time, yeah, I would say that the first one, it's not what I wanted in a Mummy Universal movie, but it was
Either.
it
was
a great
entertaining.
Indiana Jones take. I mean, yeah, but we
No,
can't do that anymore.
that
Well, that. Oh, go
Jess,
ahead.
I agree with you. That was it was an entertaining movie, but that's not what I want out of a mummy movie.
No.
It's funny because the first Mummy movie still kind of had that spirit, but they lost it by the time they did Mummy Returns. Hollywood lost it. That's like a very good time where we can kind of put that pin into where they just forgot how to do this kind of movie.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think that is around the turning point of where we did lose the pulp movies, start losing
Yeah.
because obviously, I mean, you had Jurassic Park and computer stuff quite a few years before the Mummy, but they were still really toying with it to use in large amounts and in large quantities in the film. And that was kind of the beginning of that era.
Yeah. Yeah. I think pretty much I wouldn't argue with somebody who wanted to say Raiders is a perfect film. I mean, what else could you want? I mean, action, romance, exotic locales, beautiful women. It's a fantastic movie.
It really is, except perfect film, which I say it ranks up there in the batch of many perfect films for me. But Big Bang Theory made a point of, and I could argue this, but I'm not going to go into it. But they did point out that this movie, the plot line did not need Indiana Jones, because the Nazis would have still found the Ark, and they would have still opened it, and then been all killed and beam lighted, whether Indy was there or not.
That is true. That is true. But
Yes, but Indiana wouldn't have, like Indiana Jones would not have found Marion.
He wouldn't have saved Marion. He wouldn't have. It wouldn't have gotten back into the hand. Now it was supposed to go to a museum, but it wouldn't have at least got back into U.S.'s hands in the storage unit, the military storage unit for artifacts. So yeah, he does still,
which comes into play later on, by the way.
It does. It does. No, I wish I could say like you, Dan, that this was one that I loved from childhood. I definitely remember it in the 80s, whether it's my dad or brother watching it on TV. But I think most of that adventure stuff I wasn't quite ready for yet in the 80s. And I did watch one of them all the way or through a couple times in the 90s and had a bit of an appreciation. But I really sadly found these in the early 2000s when the DVDs came out, the new box set. And I thought, no, it's time for me to sit down and really appreciate these movies. And of course, immediately fell in love with Raiders.
Yeah.
So of the original 3 Indiana Jones movies, this was the last one I saw. It took me forever to actually get a copy of it to watch. So, and I was told constantly, well, it's on TV. Well, I didn't have cable. So I had, 3 to 4 channels at the time. And that's pretty much what I was stuck with. So any movies I really saw as a kid, the rare occasion I got to go to a movie theater or whatever was the movie of the week that my mom wanted to record. So it wasn't until much later that I ended up actually getting to sit down and watch Raiders. I love this movie. It's really hard for me to say it's a perfect movie. It's a really good movie. Like if a perfect movie is an A+, this is an A. Like it's my second favorite Indiana Jones movie. I will say that.
Me too. It's my second favorite. If we're
other than that, I mean, it any Indiana Jones movie reminds me of a point in time when I was in middle school. I had not seen Raiders at this point, but me and another kid in my class, we had to do some creative writing skit. and I was really big on the Problem Child movie, and I absolutely loved Last Crusade. So him and I came up with this idea. We made a brown construction paper hat and a black and white construction paper, like what is it, a habit, something nuns wear.
Yes.
So we made this skit called Indiana Kory Sees If Penguins Can Fly, and I wore the brown Indiana Jones hat, and the other kid, whose name was also Kory, by the way, wore the habit. He climbed up on a stool. I pushed him off, and he fell. That was our skit.
Okay.
But so the Seeing If Penguins Can Fly, if you guys remember the Problem Child movies, he called all the nuns penguins. So,
which I actually love those, especially the first movie.
Yes.
Or at least when I was a kid. It's actually been a few years since I rewatched them. Cliff Booth, hello. Indiana Jones had an arc from skeptic to believer. He has a purpose. That's a pretty good point. Dan, you agree?
Yeah.
Brian Trash says he first saw Raiders and Star Wars in the theater.
Very cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can even look like there was a bit of a revival. I mean, it never fully went away, but you had stuff like The Phantom and The Shadow and some different things like that in the 90s. And yeah, I'd love to see Doc Savage, Alan Quartermain, and a lot of these characters come back. I feel like it would play pretty well with kids nowadays.
Didn't Disney try and do something like this? It was Jungle Cruise or whatever.
Nice.
I tried to watch it and I couldn't get through it. I couldn't get past the fact that The Rock looked more like fucking Humphrey Bogart from The African Queen.
It doesn't look or feel like I mean, again, it's the effects, it's some of the stuff in the movie, the CGI. You lose that sort of adventure feel when you have it looking like it looks. I mean, it's not an awful movie, I guess, but yeah.
I don't know if you could do it again. I think even Steven Spielberg said like 20 years ago that with these first 3 films, at least, they captured lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to have somebody that would just abide by a rule that you just do it all old school. And I don't know that you really have the filmmakers anymore that can do that.
No, because again, you need more than just how to make it, like with practical effects and
stuntmen
and real locations and stuntmen. It's a goddamn good story. It's a good writer. It's a great director. It's a wonderful producer and production team to put this stuff together and add their ideas and think on the spot sometimes.
Yeah.
Everything in Hollywood is spending all this money, but yet it's even more tight with their planning, and everything has to be, we have to know everything that's going to happen. And you can't, I'm not saying you can't ever, and they don't still, but on this set, it's like, no, you know what? I want to put 5 cameras out here, and here. Now I got a great shot at it. We're going to do this whole setup that wasn't even in the script today. And I don't think there's as much of that happening either. I could be wrong, and I've been out of the business in a way for several years now. A lot more than I want to admit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll still hold out hope, I guess.
Yeah, no, hopefully there's a resurgence of some of this, and it would be nice. And I've been saying it for well over a decade now that they're spending too much on these movies and expecting, $1 billion blockbusters on everything they do. And no, that's not how you make a blockbuster. That's not how you make a movie that's going to last for forever or a long time.
It's funny too, like if you go to, or if you've been to Disney back in the day and or Universal or whatever, and you look at like all of these new 3D rides that all feel the same. Man, was it awesome the first time I went to the Indiana Jones stunt show. Seeing somebody run from the boulder and all of the cool shit that they do in that. I don't know if that still exists or not, to be honest with you, but it was better back then, even in the theme parks.
I've seen the stunt show on video way back, but I didn't get to see it when I've been to the parks. I have been on the Indiana Jones ride.
Okay.
The Temple of the Forbidden Eye or something.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've been
it is one of the greatest rides at Disneyland, and that's saying something from somebody who loves classic Pirates of the Caribbean and shit like that.
Yes.
Which brings it up. You bring it up. I mean, this is a franchise. It's got a TV series, which we won't go into really too much, but it's got books. It's got video games, the Disney park rides and shows, and all sorts of media. Hold on, Kory. We'll slow on this.
Sean Patrick Flannery.
Oh, yes. The Adventures of Young Indiana Jones.
Daniel Craig was also in that before he got famous.
I was not aware of this.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig was also in the old Zorro TV show. Used to run on the Family Channel.
Jay knew the stunt show as well. Thought it was very impressive.
Oh, hell yeah.
Do you know if that's still running? Dan and I were kind of curious.
I feel like it still is, but I don't know. Maybe they killed that too.
Ben says there was a Indiana Jones halftime show for the Super Bowl. Why don't I remember this?
Yeah. The good days.
I think Brian joined us late there, Dan. You want to?
Well, there's several, but there's San Fernando Jones and the Temple of Poon from, I want to say 1997 or 98. Yes.
Okay. That makes sense. Ben Graham. It was 95.
I'm sure that's on YouTube. Show. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, Jay's not sure if he'd be surprised if it's still going. I kind of would too, because I know it wasn't at Disneyland even 10 years ago. Wasn't that a Disney World thing to begin with anyway? Like
it might
Disney
be
MGM Studios or something.
I've done both, but I did Disney World more, so although I feel like I did see it in both, but
maybe there was, and I just was not looking for it at the time.
Yeah. I know like certain things like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride survived at one and not the other, and so there are some differences.
Which honestly, being a Disney fan, I am not as impressed as a lot of people are on the Mr. Toad ride.
Ooh, I always thought that was a great ride.
There's other dark rides I like before that one. But this isn't a Disney show. Well, not yet at least. So we won't get into that.
Definitely not. We just talked about San Fernando Jones and the Temple of Poon.
Oh, that don't mean nothing. Not anymore.
All right. I guess any final thoughts on Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Great movie.
All-time classic adventure story.
And if anything, I want everybody to remember something. In this movie, at least in this world, God exists. This movie proves that. So just keep that in mind as we go on.
Definitely. And this one particular. Now, having said that, before we move on, they take some major liberties. Even within the story, whether you believe it or not, these are not biblical accurate. Did I say that right? Biblically accurate. Yes.
Biblically.
The Ark of the, like opening that up and your face melting, things like that. We'll get into the other things.
Well, if you touched the Ark, you died.
Well,
you could not physically touch the Ark.
Definitely
That's why
turned
there
in even
poles.
Fictional elements to these biblical stories.
It just makes
you
it
believe
you can't get a boner anymore.
That's one thing for certain.
that's the San Fernando Jones and the Temple of Poon take.
The Nazis did melt well, and I think we were very happy to see that at the end.
And how cooler was that versus just blowing up in CG smoke, or
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, a time to where you didn't know how they did it. They were magic tricks. They were illusions that you were like, wow.
It looked like they were actually melting, and well, we'll talk a little bit about ratings and how that changed after Temple of Doom, but these movies weren't afraid to be a little bit, on the graphic side. They didn't, treat children like, sensitive little flowers like we do.
Yeah, there were pussies back then.
No, there were no pussies back in the 80s.
No. Well, there were, but you didn't hear much about them.
This is true. Tom Selleck just gathered them up, and
he did. Stuffed him in his mustache and took him out to pasture.
Just enveloped them in the mustache, and they're all
Tom Selleck. All right. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I don't have a lot of notes, but I could talk this movie all day. This is my favorite Indiana Jones movie, and I fucking love it.
Are you fucking stupid?
No, I'm a genius.
No, you're not.
Oh, so if the last one was your second favorite, you have got to be fucking stupid, because I don't know if you'd call any of the ones after this the best.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
either one or two. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's going to be Last Crusade now, unless you're a total fucking moron. But
I'm not a total fucking moron.
This show will be pretty positive to a point, and then not so much. But Temple of Doom's a great sequel. I mean, you got Molaram, one of the iconic villains. Short Round, who it's interesting now that Ke Hui Kwan, can never say his name right, but he's kind of like having a run at movies now. He's kind of a proper movie star. He was just in Love Hurts, and that an action movie. Why they didn't bring back Short Round in the last two, in either one of those, I do not understand, especially the last one, because
that's in my notes of big
well, I guess we'll get there. I'm jumping, but what a fun character.
Oh, he's great. He is great. And I don't care what people say about Kate Capshaw's Willie, saying she screams all the time. I think that character is perfect, and she's hilarious. It's comedy. The whole damn movie is just one big adventure. I think
you said Kate Capshaw's Willie. I'm not even touching that.
Do you think that Short Round cock-blocked Steven Spielberg too on set? No time for love, Mr.
No
Spielberg.
time for love, Mr. Spielberg. They were definitely flirting in those behind-the-scenes footage, Spielberg and Kate. And I don't think he was going through, I don't know if he was going through the divorce at the time or that happened right after.
It was there at that point. It was all over.
But they didn't marry till later on.
This is true. But I'm thinking he was all up in them Willie guts at that point.
Darn right, Ben. Way to back it up. Well, Mr. Bombastic. No,
Last favorite? That's a weird one.
That's what I think too. I mean, there'd be, like I said, worse ones that shouldn't even be considered a favorite beyond that, but
okay.
That is strange of the original trilogy, but it is some people's favorites.
Jonathan also says it's made for somebody that somebody just isn't me. So,
I mean,
not your type of movie, I guess. I mean, I still think I don't know. These hold up quite well.
In Temple of Doom, it is kind of, I guess, strange for me. I don't know. Raiders probably did set up the energy when I finally sat down and watched Raiders, and I was watching these in order. And I was pumped after Raiders, so Temple of Doom, I did have that hype, but it delivered. and it did kind of, as far as you were talking about one God and things, Kory, but the first movie that was sort of the Old Testament movie, was the first one. This is Sakara stones and Kali Ma.
I call it crap.
Mola yeah, I think I called him Kali.
But I still think it made a fantastic mythology even to these religions.
I don't hate this movie at all. Okay. I think there are great characters. I absolutely love Short Round. Okay. The whole scene where they're fucking the bald dude sticking his hand in people's chests and pulling out their fucking heart.
So great.
Very cool. But this movie, for the most part, takes place in one spot. They're not traveling all over the world like they did in the first one.
But I think it almost feels more like an adventure, and they do travel.
Yeah, they do travel.
They at the beginning, but once they get to that spot, they don't fucking leave the rest of the movie.
But look at how many completely different locations, even though it's in
it's a pretty
location.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty cool location. I mean, the drawbridge scene and and everything. I mean, Molaram's lair. I mean, I don't know. I guess
rides, the bats, the drawbridge. You're right.
And another thing today,
the temple cave, the mine.
Who's going to cover your leading lady in actual bugs? I know she had to take like pills to get up the nerve to even do that scene. Like there's just so much just cool shit.
This would have almost been worse than the snakes to me, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to do that, put myself in there. The bug scene compared to the snake scene even.
Yeah, but the snakes were behind a plexiglass wall.
Only the cobra was behind the plexiglass wall. All the other snakes, they were walking around them in the sand.
Mm. I know one big criticism of this. I think Kate Capshaw even said it herself. Like her character kind of is just a dumb blonde versus Karen Allen, who's like a very smart, capable lady. And that's one thing I know modern film critics bring up a lot. But she was funny. She was pretty to look at. It still worked. I mean, it's still authentic to the old pulps.
It is, and perfect for that character. And again, I found it comedic, that character, and I think it was on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. And even being in the screaming, I think there was still some strength behind Willie. I mean, come on. You're out in the jungle, and you mentioned like earlier, Dan, that the time period where some of these places were still unexplored, at least by quote, civilized man, or not indigenous to the areas. And so if you were to put yourself in that time period and you've never been into those places, that would be kind of fucking terrifying in 1930.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever, 9, when the smoke hadn't even cleared yet.
Yeah, I mean, there were places like India that were very mysterious back then. I mean, I think they shot, I want to say Sri Lanka was the main. It may not be that way as you go along, but yeah, I mean, these movies, there's not too many people you're gonna find that hate the first two, for sure. I mean, I don't know of many.
I just don't think it's as good as Raiders or Last Crusade.
I think Raiders is the best movie. I mean, I know we'll rank them at the end. But
that's kind of interesting, though. You think Raiders is the best movie. I think Temple of Doom is the best movie. And I'm assuming this third one is going to be Kory. So,
Last Crusade is by far the best one.
No, you're wrong. But
no, I'm not.
I'd give Dan credit before I'd give that one. I love Last Crusade, though, and we're going to get into that soon. Hold on. We got to. He said he doesn't have great arguments as to why he hates it. I never do either, but I just still spout off, Jonathan.
Just not your cup of tea, I guess. I get it.
Last Crusade is okay. I don't know if you already grabbed these, Kory.
I didn't get this one.
Well,
Okay.
I'm glad to hear the stunt show's still there.
But that's Hollywood Studios in Florida? It's a section of their park, right? In there, Florida, at Disney World, Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, I believe it's just in. I don't know. It's been a
'Cause
long
they don't
time.
have that in California. I mean, they have California Adventure, which I think might have
It-
like a Hollywood Studios section, but I don't remember
It's
the
possible I
Indiana Jones
never
show
went in California, but yeah. Either way, it was an awesome show.
Cool. But the ride is at both places, I think, though. The Temple of the
Yes,
Forbidden
that
Light.
definitely is.
It is one of the best Disney rides, at least up to a few years ago. I haven't been there. It's been a while. Sorry, I'm going through the comments now. If we missed something, I'm sorry.
It's
Yeah,
Jay's
soulless Hollywood
favorite,
shit.
too.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Oh, you're talking about Temple of Doom, and is that what he's talking about?
Yeah,
I think he's talking about all of them.
Oh. No, you're wrong. Why are so many people, you and Jonathan, so wrong, Kory?
Jay agrees with you.
Of course, he's a smart man. Ben Grimm, iconic dinner scene.
Sorry. I didn't know you. No, that dinner scene fucking grosses me out.
I understand, John.
Much like Indiana Jones, I am not afraid to admit that I will scream like a sissy if I see a snake. So I am the biggest fucking girl. If snakes are involved, I run and I will scream as high pitched as I can, which is not very high, but I have no qualms admitting that. Snakes freak me out.
I don't have a phobia, but I mean, when I see them like on my hiking trails, I mean, yeah, I don't fuck with them.
If I
Tell him,
can be
Jonathan.
startled by one, but I'm not really ever been terrified of snakes.
A creature that has sockets for arms and legs and does not have arms and legs should not fucking exist.
I used to pick them up all the time when I was a kid, put little ones in my pocket. I've been bit by snakes and still I don't fear them. Now, yeah, not a dumbass. If I don't know if a snake's venomous or not, I'm not going to go picking up any snake in the wild. And I can be startled even by a garter snake if
They're
I don't see it
unnatural
there.
and should not exist.
But all in all, no. If I saw a snake on a trail, I would not be terrified.
Young Jess Graham was meant to be in a Twitter video, just getting eaten by something.
That would be cool. That would be cool. It'd be a way to go out.
Yeah. For the memes, but
torn up for hours in agony, but like, yeah, some crazy creature swallows me up.
It is funny because I know Steven Spielberg is, I believe, said he wasn't at least totally satisfied by Temple of Doom. He thought he went a little too horrific with it, but I kind of disagree. I think it's awesome that this one was a little bit more dark and dangerous, although there was certainly plenty of gore in the first one. But
well, they were him and George Lucas, I think, both said that this was, before Dial at least, or that this was their least favorite. And that, like you just said, a Spielberg, they think they went too dark, and they blame it on they were going through divorces or they were having troubles in their relationships at the time. So
yeah, this and Gremlins led to the PG-13 rating. A lot of people were very angry. Their kids got freaked out.
Hey, I don't know if I see it or not. I don't think I've seen worse things in PG movies than what's in this movie, other PG movies.
Then we had
But-
the dawn of the pussies, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
Blame Temple of Doom.
And I honestly, having a PG-13 rating isn't bad. It really isn't. They did need something in between PG and R. But for me, for the most part, it just depends on what actually the content is they're rating it with. Because there's some rated R movies that I'd let my kids see, and then there's probably a couple PG, or even just depending on the message too, that I wouldn't necessarily. I'd rather him not watch. So you are supposed to, as the guardian, make those decisions yourself. But all in all, PG-13. It's good to have it. And you're right. This movie particularly, was one of them that made them get that rating. And I think even Spielberg went to push for it. It's his film. That we needed a different rating in our system.
So, Jess, let me ask you something. The stones in Temple of Doom, is it an actual artifact?
Sakari stones.
Yes.
Or Sakara, something like that.
Are they actually real? Do they exist?
Yes.
Is there actual mythology?
Not as deep, I don't think, as they put in this movie. It's not as deep and fantastical, but I am very sure and they might not specifically be the stones that they're talking, but there is stones within the religion. So it is based off of some facts. I think all of them are based off. They really stretch it at the end movies, but these first three are based in at least some sort of religious, base. One too many bases.
The crystal skulls are real. There are actual crystal skulls.
They are, but I think they're not as ancient and
you might want to do a
real
little research on that, bud.
I have.
Just saying. But anyway, we're not talking about crystal skulls yet. So
okay, you're right.
We have to get through this.
We're still in the Temple of Doom.
The third best Indiana Jones, fourth best. I don't know.
Third best. That's next.
Third or fourth best, and then we still have to do the best Indiana Jones movie.
Oh, we just finished that. So, final thoughts on Temple of Doom.
Did I take a nap? We haven't even talked Last Crusade yet.
It is, great sequel. I mean, maybe a couple things you can pick at. I know some people find Kate Capshaw annoying, but fantastic sequel.
It's a good movie.
Cliff Booth. It's a great movie.
It's a good movie.
And honestly, as we go into this, I could accept this trilogy as far as anybody saying that all three of these are great movies.
Two are great. One's good.
And that one that's good is
Temple of Doom.
Indiana Jones.
Look at this. Come on. It's got Sean Connery as fucking Henry Jones Sr. That's all you fucking need, and this is better than the first two.
I guess Sean Connery was like dicking down girls at like 11 years old, though. But that's the only kind of weird thing, because I think 11 or 12 years is the age difference between those two.
Oh, yeah, but he was playing much older. Like, he threw me off there for a second.
Yeah. No, I always thought that was kind of funny. I was like, is he really? Yeah, not quite old enough to be his dad, but
no, but that's acting.
That works. I'm not complaining.
And I'm not wearing. He shot some of the hot scenes not wearing any pants too. When it was only the camera was.
It wasn't just him. Harrison Ford did too, and
he encouraged Harrison,
even
inspired Harrison.
Steven Spielberg.
And I'm not wearing pants right now either.
That doesn't surprise me.
Go.
I don't.
This movie is awesome.
Go ahead.
I don't give a flying fuck what any of you Temple of Doom fanboys want to fucking sit there and, oh, this one's better. No, it's not. Last Crusade is the best Indiana Jones movie. It's got all the best shit. It just does.
If I had the crickets button from Discord, that would be great.
Fuck you. Come
The
on, they're
openings of
looking.
all
They're
three of these
looking
we're
for
gonna get into this.
the Holy Grail. How many movies have been done on the fucking shit on a stone things and the fucking Ark of the Covenant? Not that many. How many have done on the fucking Holy Grail?
Yeah, but honestly, even the Holy Grail
Monty Python did it.
doesn't really
Monty
have
Python.
a huge
The entire
biblical
Arthurian
canon.
fucking mythology.
It's definitely more mythology than as far as the cup, one being magical, or two even having really any significance in, I think, the actual Bible.
Okay. So if you're getting into whether or not there's an actual cup that Jesus drank out of that can heal people and give people eternal life, no. Okay. But it's the idea behind it. And besides, and they use the Grail as like a metaphor or whatever, so that like Indy and his dad can get back together. That's the actual Grail search or quest.
Everything's a metaphor. And honestly, giving it that type of, like, not backstory, but look there again, going back to the first film we were talking, Dan, or you were talking about, making this such, there's so much deep detail that these guys thought about when creating this. Ladies and gentlemen,
What up,
Mr.
Kentucky Bombastic.
in general.
Whoa.
Damn.
In general, it's just like a crotchety muppet at this point. Like, he grown.
He cares about these movies, though.
Indiana Jones.
Unlike Star Wars, which he obviously doesn't give a shit. But
No, what I was going to say was it's not necessarily just Indiana Jones. I hate giant Hollywood trilogies, like, in general. Like, I grew hate for Star Wars. It was the only one, like, I did kind of fall into for a while. And then, like, Lord of the Rings, I think it's just a fucking slog. Like, if you ever do a Lord of the Rings one of these, I'll gladly go on here and just curse for fucking 2 hours.
It's possible.
We'll do one eventually.
Yeah.
It's mind-numbingly fucking boring to me. But are we on Last Crusade yet?
We just started. You're just in time.
they were about to debate Israel and Palestine, but yeah,
we were, but
About to debate what?
I don't think there's much debate there between me and Jess. So
yes, Last Crusade. We didn't really dive too deep, except Sean Connery and Harrison Ford's age.
Cliff wouldn't wear pants.
Sean Connery is the reason I like Last Crusade more than the others. And I don't even consider, like, I didn't even see the fifth one. That fourth one I did see in theaters with like a group of friends or whatever. I'd rather not even talk about that. You know what I mean? But no, Last Crusade, Sean Connery really did it for me. And mostly it's because he's just taken down Indy the whole movie. Calling him fucking Junior because he knows he hates it. Blowing up his Indiana, his cool fucking name, right? Indiana was the dog's name, you know? Like, that's what I love about Last Crusade. Is just that Sean Connery is just there to take the piss out of Harrison Ford for the duration of the film.
Wouldn't it have been funny if he just like ended up fucking Karen Allen or something?
I'd fully just in my head believe he fucked every female on that set.
You are on a break, Indy.
She talks in her sleep.
She likes my cock.
There are some great lines in this, and they are mostly from Connery.
From Connery,
It's
very nice. I watched it with my dad when I was a kid, and like that's like a great father-son movie. So like it has that to it, but the rest of the series can go fuck itself.
After
That-
3, I mean, yeah.
That last part was pretty harsh, but yeah, I love the, you know, like
I'm
you said,
surprised to
your
say
father-son
to hear you
moment.
say that Temple of Doom's your favorite. Like I detest fucking Temple of Doom.
Oh, I know it does seem kind of odd that would be
That's your
knowing me.
I understand it. There's some cool shit in Temple of Doom.
Again, I just had so much fun. I don't know why when I actually sat down to watch these, and I was pumped from Raiders.
Well, you got to remember this all has to do with childhood too, especially these movies. I didn't see these movies till I was like 17. So
Honestly, I was a few years older than that when, like I said,
Oh, really?
I had watched bits of the first two, like you said, like your dad was watching them, but I didn't immerse myself in them at that time until I was an adult. But I think that also does still take me back nostalgia, even though I wasn't like a huge fan
I
as
do
a
think
kid.
there's
I
something
remember them.
to that.
Yeah,
Just because you can't, honestly, you can't make an indie film now, right? Like they don't
That's
make
kind of
anything
been
like
proven.
it, and they've kind of proven that you can't make them now. It's like that Uncharted movie with Tom Holland really is like a spiritual. It's garbage, but it's like the premise there is kind of a Indiana Jones kind of thing. What's the Jewel of the Nile? Shit like that. Just these
Yeah, that was brought
adventure
up.
movies. Yeah, like that kind of like adventure movie just doesn't exist anymore. I guess archaeologists just aren't as cool. I mean, they're that Flint Dibble guy. They're not Harrison Ford. Is what happens.
That guy ain't getting any pussy. He could
No.
he could take a girl.
Actually,
to
though,
the
Dan, in your
Arctic
hat,
Covenant.
you look the most like an archaeologist tonight. So kudos.
I probably do. I could like fake that and just say I am, but
Jeez, Georgia
yeah.
Dan.
Flint could like take them to the Ark of the Covenant and still not get laid.
Yeah.
Like it just ain't.
Also, Connery, arguably better hat.
Well,
Then
let's
not
again
that
not
great.
get too carried away. It's a sharp hat for Connery, but
Hey, buddy. That's pretty slick. I mean, the Indy's fedora looks like he's trying too hard. No offense, Dan. You pull it off.
Hell yeah.
Indy's trying too hard. Sean Connery knows. He's very it's the confidence with which he wears it.
I think we need to make
Womb
an
Raider?
Indiana Jones fan
Yeah.
film. It's the
Every Tomb Raider movie sucked.
well, I think there again, that's the time, they were starting to use CGI and badly and too heavily.
you had Angelina Jolie at the peak hotness.
Side boob, dude. I wore a VHS out in one spot. Just rewinding that
I
motherfucker.
was gonna say
He-
that's the best thing. Even then, people talked about it.
Dude, I had to
so.
buy that movie so fast when it came out. The movie
You didn't
sucked.
have a copy of Gia. I would imagine when you did,
Okay.
that's
Oh.
a game changer.
No, I mean, I was, I could talk my mom. Like, I was young when Tomb Raider came out, so like, I could talk my parents into buying me Tomb Raider.
Not Gia.
Well, that'd be a weird explanation as to why I was interested in Gia. You know what I mean? Like, is our kid gay?
I don't know. I mean,
Hello.
there's a lot of kids that would have been because I
No, what I'm saying is like, if you're too young and cultured, like that's
yeah.
what you get to. You know what I mean? Too young and cultured. It's like, oh, he's gay.
Until
I'm
they
cultured.
find out you've only watched about 5 minutes of that movie.
Yeah. The tape's destroyed in like 1 5-second piece. It's weird.
It's just gone.
It
Yeah,
happens.
it's just like the rest of it's pristine.
That Tomb
Cigarette.
Raider movie was decent, the newer one.
Walton Goggins was the bad guy, so like he is the one. Like Walton Goggins is great in fucking everything, including the next Karate Kid
They're making another one of those actually, but
with Jackie Chan
And Ralph
and Ralph
Macchio.
Macchio. So they're gonna
I meant Tomb
merge
Raider
the
with
Kung
that
Fu
too.
Kid.
Legends.
Oh, a new.
yeah, they're but yeah, no, Karate Kid too, which I'm sure that's
That
gonna
looks
be
very convoluted. Sorry, we don't need to do this
Yeah.
right now. We're live.
No,
That's
we'll,
okay.
we'll cover the Karate Kid at some point,
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
and then we can all bitch about how bad the ending to Cobra Kai was.
I can't go
I've
there yet.
watched
I
it.
still got to watch the
I
last
haven't
few
watched it.
episodes. Yeah. Last.
Don't
Yeah.
love those movies the way you guys do either.
Those I think definitely took it. You had to be.
You
in
had to
time
be,
period.
but like I didn't hate them either. Like it's not that I just don't love them the way everyone.
Yeah.
loves them. I watched all of them, had a good time. I'm just not. I don't think I could argue for them or anything.
Still a good person to argue against them then.
No, like I'm really indifferent. I'm glad you guys had
Oh.
that. Like we kind of had the Power Rangers right after you guys. That was kind of our karate thing. Like where everybody wanted, like that was ours. You guys had Karate Kid. Like it's
And
same,
Ninja
it's
Turtles.
different. Yeah, well, and Ninja Turtles bridged the gap because I had that too. So
Anyway, you're right. Last Crusade.
yeah, sorry.
No, good.
We're all
We
just
go off
very
on
good
tangents
friends,
on the
everyone.
show.
We're all just friends. It's a problem.
Well, it's not like there's anything, this show is consistently deep here. And in half of the facts you probably already know if you're watching the show anyway. So it is about friends sitting around talking about movies they love, hate, passion.
Indifferent.
Yeah.
Do we really have to talk about those other two indie movies?
We do.
Okay.
And it could be interesting still. We might go through them quickly, but it could still be interesting. But we're still on Last Crusade. This I actually watched all the way through when I was 8 or 9 years old in the 80s when it first came out on VHS. I was at a friend's house and the parents had rented it. And that was a time to where, 1 or 2 TVs in the house and the main one, which had
you
the
were watching
Nintendo.
it.
You were watching it.
They were watching.
That's what they were watching. We're all watching it together.
Yeah.
And I didn't hate it. And I remember it being a kind of a big deal at the time. And there was other Indiana Jones movies, but I couldn't have told you how many came before it at that time. Thought it was okay. It was fun. And then again in the 90s when I was in my early teens, played the video game or the computer game Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and had a lot of fun with that. A buddy was really into it. And then so we ended up watching that movie. So again, I watched that all the way through twice without seeing the
You're
other
just
two.
bumping 3, just loving the third movie.
I was enjoying it. I wouldn't say I was loving it. It was still not enough for me to go, oh, I've got to go back and watch these other 2 yet. I didn't do that until the early 2000s when it was finally like, I really need to give these movies my full attention. And yeah, I like this one a lot. I love this one as part of the trilogy. I think it is my least favorite, but that's not saying that it's too much, lesser than the other 2. I think this trilogy as a whole
Jess,
is amazing.
if you're saying this is your least favorite
of the 3, the first 3.
You chose poorly.
You
did, man. You really did. I still don't get Temple of Doom. How is Temple of Doom better than this? How many Sean Connerys were in Temple of Doom? Did I miss it?
No,
did I miss it?
No
was he behind the boulder? Is that what it was?
That was Raiders.
Temple
was the mine cart.
There you go. Was he in the mine
cart? The big one.
Yeah, is that where he was?
I love the mine cart scene.
There's some great action movies. I mean, Temple of Doom's the darker one, but I think Last Crusade's great. I always forget that River Phoenix was rest in peace, was young Indiana Jones. I know they were.
Are you guys going to go over the Sean Patrick Flannery series?
We talked about it briefly.
We talked about it briefly.
It was.
I actually have volume 1 of it.
But
so.
if you got something to say about it.
No, I never watched it. I was hoping you guys had cool shit to say about it.
I thought it was fun.
I watched an episode or 2 of it.
Yeah.
At best.
It was fun. But yeah, Last Crusade, River Phoenix, I thought was really good as the young Indiana Jones, which he didn't do it in the series, but he was coming off Mosquito Coast, which I believe is Harrison Ford's favorite movie that he made. So that's kind of how he got the gig. And yeah, again, great cast, fantastic action scenes. Julian Glover doesn't get talked about enough, but he was great as Walter Donovan. And then, yeah, the stuff with Sean Connery's fun. It's a different dynamic. We're 3 movies in.
It humbles Indy. And it really brings Indy down to a level because, like, it's his dad, Yeah. Like, exactly. Even Indiana Jones, right? He's still got to fucking listen to his dad, and he's got to put up with his dad shit. Like, even him.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's one other really cool thing that I wanted to point out, and that is they shot at fucking Petra.
Yeah.
I mean, that place is fucking cool. An entire city carved into fucking rocks and shit like that. I mean,
yeah, it's very, very Alexandria, right?
Yeah.
Jonathan, you got to have the script in front of you. You can do it better than anyone. Pushy. Or just keep saying that in that word.
Just every time you ask him something, that's his answer.
I think we found the next play.
The next
Last
movie,
Crusade.
the
It takes
Last
fucking
Crusade.
4 hours to do Last Crusade.
Except we replace every Connery line.
Pushy.
Pushy.
I think just every Connery line with like a pickup line.
But my diary's in Berlin. Pushy.
It's the way he says pussy.
Yeah.
Pushy.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I think you can visit some of the locations in Utah, I believe, for this. If I'm not mistaken,
You gotta go to Utah.
Well, yeah, you got to go to Utah, but
Yeah.
I don't think I
Dodge
visited
Mormons,
them.
bro.
But, yeah.
The Jones house at the beginning of the movie, I think you can. It's like a bed and breakfast, or you can rent it out
Okay.
to stay in.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure that's expensive.
Yeah.
It's insanely expensive.
It's probably not what I'd want to pay to stay in there. I mean, it's not that iconic to me. There, at least that house would be. But yeah, probably not that horrible either. I feel like I've looked up some of these places. You can stay in the Christmas Story house and a few other locations now. They're starting to get it.
It's funny when you look at this movie too, like back then, it's like they would travel to a bunch of different locations to shoot. This movie has several different locations overseas here in the US, Utah, Colorado. Like it really adds to the production.
It does.
What was that, Jess?
I said it does.
It does.
Well, like you were complaining, talking about traveling. You like the traveling Indy.
Yes, I do.
Where the plane's going on
I
here
do
and there
because
on the map.
I love when they cut to the map and they got the red line and the fucking music's playing. That's Indiana Jones.
Well, they got that in everyone.
They barely have it in Temple of Doom. It's at the beginning, and then they get to the fucking palace and they're at the palace. That's like percent of the fucking movie.
Yeah, but it's not a one location.
No, it's not. Again, it's the palace. It's the temple.
Quarry.
Mine, the Kory. It's the river on the elephant and the jungle.
Yeah. I don't feel like Temple of Doom is just like
the bridge.
Like
again.
Just one of those movies that we shot in a closet or anything.
So they go from the palace to the basement, out the fucking garage door, into the backyard.
You're
where
skipping
the fucking
whole
river
adventure
is.
before the palace, where they're at the village. Then they go again on the elephant into the river.
That's the beginning of the movie. The beginning of the movie feels more like an Indiana Jones movie than the rest of the fucking movie.
This is the kind of talk that led to aliens in the fucking movies. So it's okay if it's a good location. You don't have to get too crazy. It's going to go to space probably if they do another one.
Oh,
I thought he almost did in the last one. We're almost there.
We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm trying not to skip ahead.
Well, boys, I just wanted to come on and spew a little hate.
Okay.
I'm gonna bounce. I got to get back to the wife. But
appreciate you, Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Thank you. Good night.
Good seeing you.
Thanks for sharing your thoughts, buddy. That was a nice treat, and he picked the perfect moment to come on.
Yes, he
He
did.
really does.
The one he
the last two
liked. Yeah, no. And I don't blame him. Like he said at the beginning, that he has nothing really to say about those two.
Well,
movies.
and Cliff points out they're like the fucking bridge sequence. Like that movie has so many great. And I like Last Crusade a lot.
Thank you,
I'm
Cliff.
not shitting on Last Crusade, but yeah. That movie's like iconic action scene.
I'm not saying that Temple of Doom is a bad movie. I'm just saying it's not as good as Last Crusade.
It could these first three movies could be all three of them could be argued and have good points to why they could be the best or a favorite each one of them for somebody. It could have been how I watched them, though.
And
Usually, Last Crusade should have been my favorite movie because it was the one I had watched 2 times before any of the others.
I would also like to point out that this movie, due to the fact that Indy chooses wisely, actually finds the Holy Grail and uses it to heal his father. Once again, proves the existence of God in the Indiana Jones world.
I wish San Fernando Jones had the Last Crusade, because I just want him to like meet the Templar and just go like, y'all motherfuckers out there eating ass. What was that, Jess Grimm?
Well, Ben makes a great point, and the ass eating thing made me choke on the smoke. But they are kind of in these movies, and while I don't think I would change it as far as Last Crusade goes, they shouldn't even been touched on again. Which would here we are jumping ahead, but they
not
shouldn't.
to mention. Sorry, go ahead.
But that, like he was saying, it made Temple, I think, also unique and a more iconic villain. I mean, it's hard to say that. I mean, the Nazis in the first and Raiders that's pretty iconic. And what's his name? Belosh.
Were the
Belloc.
movies?
Belloc.
I mean, when the movies take place, it would kind of just be natural that you'd have Nazi villains. You know, the whole supernatural experiments and everything, which isn't total bullshit. I mean, they did look into some very strange stuff.
Yeah. They did. Are we going on to the fourth one? Is it thoughts on Crusade?
There was something I was going to point out, but I can't remember what it was.
That's why you gotta have notes. Doesn't help too much anyway. My chicken scratch, I start going, oh, well, I thought I was going to be more profound when I wrote that note, but now all I can remember is the little 3-word note. I like movie.
I like movie. Oh. Which brings us to a similar line in the next movie.
Okay, so am I bringing up the poster?
Go ahead and bring up the poster.
In which I don't think this is a bad poster.
No, good poster.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I'm gonna just take this and then we can go from there because I'm probably the only one here. I like it. And I've liked it since the first time I watched it. However, yes, here's the original trilogy, and really here's, Crystal Skull is quite a gap between them, but I still like it. I love these, and I like it. And I like Crystal Skull. I think positives it does have is the setting, not necessarily how it was filmed or what, special effects they use, but going down to South America, it does have more of that we did leave since the first one, the Raiders. When you first see him in that opening scene, you think Indy does belong in sort of a jungle and Mayan temple, and we hadn't really been down that road yet. Now, the things that people hate about it, they're right. Let me go on the notes, and you'll probably add on.
Yes,
to this.
did you fall out of that ride when you were a kid?
Am I talking all crazy, or is it just because I like Crystal Skull?
Well, that's pretty crazy, Jessica.
I know it is, and I know most people hate it. That are fans at all of this, but I think they did do quite a bit of things right. I think Harrison Ford was definitely starting to look aged. I thought he fit more as an older Han Solo, even though he didn't really want to do Star Wars again, than he did as an older Indy. But it's still Indiana Jones.
He survives a nuclear blast by hopping in a fridge.
Those, again, the points that most people make, those major points like that one, I can't disagree with. Those are shitty moments. but there's plenty of others, that are far-fetched in the previous movies.
But they jump out of a fucking airplane with a inflatable raft.
Yeah, so you can't think
I'm
that a
gonna
lead-lined
say
fridge-
surviving a nuke in a fridge is the.
It was lead lined.
But that's what I mean.
They
It's,
made
these
sure to
far-fetched.
show you it was lead lined.
But again, what made most of these things like horrible, it goes down to so much overused CGI
Yeah.
in a movie that should have had very little used. I mean, I don't even know if I'd rather have a matte painting, an in-camera matte painting, than a CGI matte painted backdrop.
Hey, you know what? Go back. Like matte paintings fucking worked.
They're glorious.
Yeah,
They're better, I think, than almost any computer animated backdrop you could do today, or that they do, because somehow I still go, oh yeah, that's a computer backdrop.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a big part of it. This movie looks fake. It just doesn't fill you with that same sense of wonder that the other ones did. It does have a good cast. I'll give it that. I mean, Shia LaBeouf, we can make fun of him. I think he's actually a pretty good actor.
That's in my notes that I don't. I think it could have been better. Somebody else could have played that part just as good or better. But I don't hate Shia in it. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I necessarily needed his kid in this. I mean, we just had his dad. I don't know. I mean, Kate Blanchett's really good. Karen Allen, of course, is great. John Hurt, Ray Winstone, Jim Broadbent. I mean, it's a very good cast. And I've had a lot of people argue with me on this. Like, I realize, like, Aliens, like, that does, harken back again to the old pulps. So it's not out of the realm of something that would, it is authentic. But I don't think it really works. It's just kind of a jump. I'm a Highlander fan, and if you've watched the Highlander movies, you probably know what I'm about to say. But when they tried to make them aliens in Highlander 2, it's like it didn't quite work. Because, like, even though I guess you could say this is sort of a sci-fi thing, it feels more like a medieval movie series. Like, aliens just didn't quite fit, and that's why they kind of retcon that in the Highlander movies. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't work. I don't.
And he was going for, the first three, due to the time they were filmed, they were based on like the serials.
Yeah.
The pulpy serials of the film serials of the 30s.
Can certainly, you could do aliens, I guess, but it doesn't work.
Where the Crystal Skull takes place is the 50s sci-fi B movies of the time. That vibe is what Lucas was going for. That essence.
So
but you're right. You're completely right. Again, I don't think we were looking for aliens as the MacGuffin, or an alien artifact as the MacGuffin, being the Crystal Skulls, which, yes, there's basis for, but there's, it's a huge drop, like you said, Dan.
There is, and I remember, like, again, everything's got to be fake. I want to say, and somebody can call bullshit in the chat if I'm wrong about this, because it's just, I didn't prepare for this show, so I'm just going off old memory. But I want to say that they had insisted that it be a CGI whip, and I think Harrison Ford said that was just fucking stupid, basically. So
if that wasn't this one, I think it was.
It could be
the later one.
Okay, I know it was one of these because I vividly remember that story and thinking like, oh wow, we're in for an epic shit pickle, which we got. But
I did hear that too, and Harrison's like, no.
Yeah, that's stupid. Just let's have a real fucking whip. How about that? Like,
but how about these? Like, let me list off the three major CGI things aside from the generals overall that really chap my ass in this. From the opening fucking sequence of the Paramount. Go for whole, fine. You've had three, or you've had the the two mountains and whatever already, and the Chinese medallion there, the gong with a mountain on it. Now let's have a little molehill or gopher hill. That's cool, but the problem is it was CG.
Yeah.
And it looked horrible.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about those other shots going from the artificial Paramount logo was into a real location shot to match up that Paramount mountain. And I think that was a big bummer with the CG. The monkeys, obviously, one of the most noted, that scene with the Tarzan jumping. That fucking ridiculous. That should have been taken out. This movie would be so much better without that. And then the ants. After having the snakes and the bugs. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I think the rats was a little weaker. That was another reason. I think Crusade was my least favorite of the three, is that the bugs and the snakes, to me, were more scary than the rats. And this one needed something like that, and they needed to use real bugs or animals, whatever they were going to do, whether it was going to be ants or not. They should have used real creatures in that scene and not CGI ants. It just takes away from it. It's not scary. It's not crawly anymore.
No, it looks like a just video game.
Yeah.
That doesn't take me mentally where I need to go to enjoy this kind of movie. I mean, I'm sure there's some details on this one that I've forgotten at this point, but yeah, I was like, it's over. We just can't make these movies anymore.
So I've been pointing out through the two of the first three movies you pointed out in Temple of Doom that the existence of the Judeo-Christian God and even a Hindu God or whatever exists in the world of Indiana Jones. Why is it so far-fetched to believe that aliens exist in the same world?
It's not far-fetched. Like, I have no issues with like aliens. I mean, I love alien stories. It doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't fit for me. I don't know, maybe like I don't know, maybe I can't articulate that. The idea of spaceships and flying saucers doesn't quite feel like it belongs in the same world as Indiana Jones, much like,
I agree with that statement, Dan. I do. I think,
yeah, it might work for you. I mean, again, I don't have like some line in the sand argument with it. It's just,
well, it's not you, and it's not you, Jess. It's I've heard this argument before that aliens and Indiana Jones. It essentially what you're saying. What I'm saying, it's not you. It's I've heard this before, so it's just something that's kind of bugged me about the criticisms of this movie is that, oh, well, God can exist. The Jewish God can exist. The Christian God can exist, which for those, scoring at home, it's the same fucking God. And some Hindu God can exist, but aliens can't exist.
I think
to me, that doesn't make sense to me.
Like Indiana Jones fits for me in fantasy adventure, not sci-fi. And those don't you wouldn't like make a, I don't know, like a Cyclops movie or go into Greek mythology and throw aliens into it. It just, I don't know, just feels like two different things.
I wouldn't think that they would be able to make a movie about aliens and cowboys, but they did.
Well, cowboys existed, and I don't know. I get what you're saying. I mean, you're either okay with it or you're not. I'm in
the middle on that one. I'm kind of, I would have rather, like you said, I do agree with Dan. So I would have rather not it been the MacGuffin.
I will say this.
I accept it. And it's still, I like it.
The best Indiana Jones movies are the ones that have the Judeo-Christian artifacts involved. So the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail. Fuck Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom is not as good as the other ones. It's just a fact. Deal with it, Jess. Anyway, this movie is
We'll come back to this.
it's not nearly as good as the original 3. Okay. And I've actually gone back and forth over this between this one and Temple of Doom. But it's not as good as the original 3, and I will agree with you on that. But this movie's just fun. If you can't just sit back and relax and just watch this and have fun with it, there's something fucking wrong with you. This is a fun movie. Yeah. Just enjoy it.
Well, it's not the worst.
So no, I'll say that. It absolutely is not the worst.
No, but it's far better than the worst. And again, like I said, it's not up with the original trilogy, but to me, it is still an Indiana Jones movie, and it is a fun ride.
The only thing I will disagree with you on, Jess, on this is that I don't think it's as far away from the original 3 as you have it.
Maybe but I do push think it closer. I'm probably just maybe not admitting that.
This movie is fun. It's easy to watch. It's easy to go back and rewatch. And if you just so I have not an issue, but I have a thing where if I like the story, I'll just get sucked into the story. I don't give a fuck about the CGI or who's jerking who off over here or any of that shit. I don't fucking care. I like the story, so I get sucked into the story. I don't care if there's CGI gophers and monkeys flinging poop at each other. And
in this type of movie, I do because it takes me out of it when it should be practical.
I don't care. At that point, I'm just having fun.
Nerd.
I can enjoy bad CG,
fucking Shia LaBeouf fucking fencing with the one chick.
That was cool enough.
That was awesome. I loved it. I was CGI, just having a blast.
Branches breaking apart around him. It was got annoying and distracting to me. It's in the,
There's a certain
I like this movie though. It's Indiana Jones still to me. I count it as it's Indiana Jones 4. When I watched the first 3, I'm watching Crystal Skull.
I think when you have like an established franchise, it's tough. I mean, the bar is just going to be higher. You're going to expect more, and yeah, this one just doesn't quite live up to expectations. I don't think. I don't think. As far as I'm aware, I mean, this movie was 2008, so there are kids now that have grown up on it. I don't hear a lot of them talking about how great Crystal Skull is. These other movies have survived longer than I've been alive, so we'll see. It's a huge fall off. I wish I had time to rewatch it because I'd have more fresh arguments. I wouldn't expect me to turn around on this one. I don't think.
I wasn't expecting Kory to like it as much as he did. So yeah, you would be the one to have to push up the hate against this. Though Jonathan protested by leaving.
I can tell you that. So going into this last couple of
yes, Sadie.
Oh, it's a dog. Okay, I was like, is somebody fucking? Nobody's fucking down here. I know that much. It sounded like moaning. I don't know. I was trying to figure it out. I was like, my cat.
Hey, Kory.
Hi, Kory.
It's the Puppet Master X movie poster of Indiana Jones. No, that's the next one, Kory. And again, make sure you tune in after this show over on Smores Indoors for the Midnight Movie Club. It's going to be a great show.
Yes.
Hold on.
Is that starting at 10 or 10:30?
11 now, I think.
11? Okay, just making sure that we still have time to.
Yeah, we'll shut this.
It's okay if your dog's fucking, Jess Graham. You don't have to drown out the moans. It's going to cock block his dog. Look at him. It's okay.
She's whining. I don't know why she is. What do you think you need? She might have to go out, but I let her out right before the show. So
okay.
We'll see if she keeps it up.
Yeah, that's about all I can really remember about this movie. So,
I was actually about to say the last couple of days I actually sat down and tried to rewatch. So I've seen Last Crusade and I've seen Raiders. I don't know how many times. So I tried to rewatch Temple of Doom. I fell asleep. I went back, rewatched Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Absolutely loved it. Just it's not the first time I've seen it either. It's like the, I don't know, third or fourth time I've watched it. It's just easy to go back and rewatch. And then I watched the new one, which we will talk about here in a little bit, but tried to go back and rewatch Temple of Doom again after watching these last two, and I just couldn't do it. Like, and it's not that I think it's a bad movie. It's not. It's just comparing them to the first one, Last Crusade, it's just not as good as those two. And Crystal Skull is just, I don't know what it is. It's just, for some reason, that movie is just easy to rewatch. It's a fun movie. So, you all good, Jess?
For the moment, we'll see.
Right.
I agree with you though, Kory. It is just fun, and it honestly gave me a fresh Indiana Jones movie to watch for a while. That after watching the first three so many times.
Dan, you didn't find it funny when they're riding through the library on the motorcycle, and the bike ends up falling over, and they're sliding under the tables, and they finally stop, and the student asks Indy just some random fucking question about archaeology.
I don't remember that, to be honest with you. that movie's kind of still a blur, but I do remember him surviving a nuclear blast. So that's probably like the one scene that sticks out. Because in the theater, I was just like, what am I watching?
Ben Grimm, I just want to touch on this because it kind of does fit in this movie. Do the existence of aliens in this universe prove God or no? I definitely don't think it disproves God. So you'd have to realistically get into a deep philosophical discussion on this. But I think just straight up answer, I don't think it neither proves or disproves God.
Yeah,
we did find aliens.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean there still wasn't a creator of those, or who knows.
Yeah.
But again, we could get totally philosophical with that one.
Missing chapter, possibly.
The only thing I'll say is that there's an argument to be made that the Bible does speak of aliens. So
there is.
All right, 1 second.
Oh, Jesse Graham.
Trying to cock block his dog.
Yeah. I don't know what his dog is trying to get to, but
Here again, sorry.
That's okay.
All right. Jess, are you ready?
The grand finale.
Well, as I said, we had Paramount bringing this before. Let me just open this one as well. Paramount had the first 4 movies up to this point releasing, and technically this one they had some still contracted release thing. Will you quit it?
He knows what you're about to talk about.
That's enough.
He's dreading it.
Are you dreading Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny? I know, but we got to talk about it still, okay? Can you give me a minute? Cock in your head. Yeah. All right. So wait, before we had Paramount. Quit it! And now brought to you by the people.
There we go.
Brought to you by the mouse. Oh, Mrs. Channel. Hello. Yes. Pain in my butt. Anyway, so this is the movie.
There we go.
They call it Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
It looks photoshopped.
I think that's the worst poster for sure. And not just because the movie.
This
Uh,
movie's a fucking piece of shit. I got
can't.
nothing good to say about this one.
Can I say one good thing? The missus and I, and this is the nicest thing I can say, and I don't think I really still feel this way. Our first watch of it, I was so prepared to just hate this movie that we didn't quite hate it as a movie. We were entertained to a degree, but it is not an Indiana Jones movie. It does not feel like an Indiana Jones movie. There's very little about it.
The time period, like, I'm sorry, like, this is your modern world now. This does not feel like Indiana Jones. This does not look like Indiana Jones. Just about everything about this movie just fucking sucks. The nerve, the absolute nerve to think that Phoebe Waller-Bridge could be like the replacement for Indiana Jones in sequels shows you just how far out of touch these producers were. She's an awful character. She's not likable. I don't think she's a bad actress. She's just totally miscast for what they wanted. This movie's so bad. The ending is insulting. It's a version of just let's do the same exact ending from the last movie, basically. But when she knocks him out, and then it's just like we don't even really get a proper finale. He just appears back in his shitty apartment, and we just do the ending from the fourth film again. It's back with Marion again. Any kind of emotional beats they try to hit, they fail at because nobody particularly cared about Shia LaBeouf anyways. And it's just, and yeah, he's really fucking old. I don't like the de-aging bullshit. This one really killed the franchise. I would have rather, you know what, if you're gonna do it, they should have just remade it with Chris Pratt, which I think was rumored at one point. I don't mind another actor take on that role and just make an authentic Indiana Jones movie.
What would be wrong with bringing the guy in from the Young Indiana Jones movie or show and having him reprise the role?
Sean Patrick Flannery.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably wouldn't happen just because, I mean, he's older now too. I mean, he's not.
Yeah, but he's not nearly as old as Harrison Ford is.
No, he's not. But I think in that case, they would just cast somebody new because, you know, Sean Patrick Flannery's makes a lot of smaller movies. Like, he's not a movie star. He should have been because I think he was really good. But yeah, I know Chris Pratt was the rumor, and I think they would have been better off just like, let's make an Indiana Jones movie. James Bond doesn't die when you just hire a different actor and you tell.
No, and I get what you're saying, but no, I don't think Harrison Ford is the complete problem here. I think we could have had an old Indiana Jones adventure.
Not that old.
I think it still would have worked, but the supporting cast, these not even the cast, but the characters themselves are a big problem in this movie.
Yeah, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is just a terrible character. It just doesn't work.
Do you mention the time travel BS, the whole Dial of Destiny? You know, if you thought Crystal Skull took a step away from the feel of Indiana Jones, this fucking just throws it off the charts. I mean, we talked about the Paramount logo until Disney came along. I am pissed. The whole Lucasfilm thing with the buckle on the case was what they did to replace the Paramount logo. And I get it, except for the fact that Paramount still was involved and had the Paramount logo at the beginning of the movie, but Disney couldn't suck it up and say, hey, Paramount, we're going to still use you as our main logo and, you know, not put yours as the side logo. I don't know. They always started with the Paramount Mountain, and Disney had an opportunity, I think, to still use that because it still has ties to Paramount, this series, but they dropped the ball. And that right there, when I first saw that at the beginning, I thought, nope, this is an indie. I know Jay said it's Photoshop type of look with, I'm assuming, the younger indie. I thought that was kind of cool, but yeah, it sounded like old Harrison Ford with younger Indy's face.
Yeah, I thought all of that looked awful. I mean, part of the problem is, I mean, we all grew up with Harrison Ford, and we just know that doesn't look right. But I mean, it was an issue in The Irishman too, which I actually do think was a really good movie overall. But no, I mean, this one, I didn't have high hopes, but I was shocked at how awful this one was. Like, I couldn't believe my eyes. Again, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, not a bad actress. She's probably fine as like the quirky best friend in a rom-com, but the nerve to think that like that character was gonna put butts in seats. Like, that just was never happening. And Ben Grimm, Mutt was his kid's name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying
Actually, it was Henry Jones III, but
okay. Yeah, I'd take Mutt. I'm not saying that's a good idea. I
No,
think
it's not a good idea, but yeah, we'd take it over her.
once Shia LaBeouf is like essentially doing a porn with Nymphomaniac, Shia LaBeouf was never gonna, get that kind of a franchise again. But yeah, no, I mean, it wouldn't have been great, but it would have. I suppose you could have made it work if you had a good script. This one really kind of killed it to the point that you could try and reboot it now, but it's going to be harder, and it would have to be a fresh start with a fresh actor. And I'm fine with that. Tell an authentic story. Probably cast an unknown, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but the real sad part is this is what they went out on.
Yeah, I think this one really hurts the film's legacy.
It makes Crystal Skull look like, yes, Crystal Skull should be just as equal as the first three if you're comparing it with this one.
Yeah.
It sickens me because, yeah, it is an awful movie. Again, it is not an Indiana Jones movie, does not feel like one. I think they could have done so much better, even with Harrison's age, whether it is I know everybody was thinking he was going to play Indy, but what if you had kind of a stronger, older character, not even a young Shia LaBeouf, but a Chris Pratt as kind of the buddy movie with a old, wise Harrison. Harrison now definitely in the Connery role with a new youngin that going out to search for some cool artifact and not a time travel fucking stupid device as the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
It just all was wrong.
They could have not the fucking dial itself, but I mean, they had the Spear of Destiny there at the beginning. They could have done the whole fucking movie around that.
Yeah, and I'd honestly go even
And,
as far.
and it falls in line with Raiders and Last Crusade because it's a Judeo-Christian artifact. I think that would have worked better. I didn't hate I'm in the same boat as you, Jess. Like, this was not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but this is not an Indiana Jones movie. They could have called it anything else. This seriously is one of those movies where they could have had any other title. They could have called this fucking DuckTales. They could have had the same lettering and everything and just had Scrooge McDuck in there. It would have worked better than Indiana Jones.
But now, since it is an Indiana Jones movie, it's fucking awful. And almost, I don't think I'll watch it again. I might, so many years down the road just to go, oh, I remember what happened.
My suggestion, if you want your Indiana Jones fix, and maybe out there you haven't watched, the Richard Chamberlain, Alan Quartermain, King Solomon's Mines type stuff, like, go back and watch that. I think you'll have a better time. Maybe you haven't seen The Phantom or whatever. There's a lot of options.
What about The Librarian? the
Oh,
movies.
the Noah Weil.
Yeah.
That became a TV show too. Yeah. No, those were fun. Yeah. Yeah, that over this too. I mean, some of the Robert Halmy fantasy miniseries over the years. Those are really underrated. You could just do so much better than this. This movie was just. I was actually kind of angry when I left the theater, to be honest. And
I'm angry that I even said I was found any entertainment out of it. The more I think about it,
Nah, it never. This one was just from beginning to end. It just felt awful. They didn't even really get John Rhys Davies as involved as they could have. I mean, they got him back finally, and
they should have left him out.
They brought back in the wrong way.
Yeah.
He just looks. I will say this: the best part of the whole movie for me was the fact that I'm a big Cubs fan, and he puts on a Cubs shirt. When the neighbor turns the music up real loud and he goes over with the baseball bat, he's wearing a Cubs shirt on backwards. So
this is so horrible. I don't even remember that.
That was the highlight of the movie for me.
Production wise, it doesn't even have the look, the feel, the cinematic. I mean, first and foremost, I know why Spielberg didn't come back, whether he's pushed out or chose himself.
He was smart enough on this one.
I think it also came down to George Lucas being really pushed out is why he probably stepped back.
Yeah, these movies were like a joint venture between those two. I mean, as much as George Lucas created the character or whatever, Spielberg was just as much involved in these movies as George Lucas was. So,
yeah, I mean, those guys don't have spotless records, though, if we're being honest. So,
no, they don't. But this was their movie franchise, and it definitely, without them, I think, made a major difference. While Crystal Skull wasn't perfect.
Yeah, I don't think either one ever was involved in anything this bad.
Just by name. Oh, as far as this bad, yeah. If their name's on this even, it's only because some sort of vanity credit. It's not something they probably didn't even want. You mentioned earlier, Dan, there was great opportunities as far as a story to bring back. This is a perfect movie to bring back Short Round and Willie. I mean, we brought back Marion in the last movie, and she had a cameo at the end of this one.
Yeah,
but it was time to bring Willie and Short Round back now for this fifth movie. If you're going in
some back and forth between her and Marion would have actually been pretty funny.
That could have been, and they even become buddies after that back and forth and sort of team.
Yeah, something like
against
that.
Indy, but
there's so many possibilities, and it's just like I don't know, and I think maybe they were trying to go a little too serious. Again, not that we care because the Shia LaBeouf character wasn't beloved or anything, but it's like this is pulp stuff. Like, I'm not looking for this to be all like dark and dour. Like, it's supposed to be fun. I just want to see Indiana Jones going on adventures, and it doesn't work. I don't want to see him as like a totally broken down old man. Who, quite frankly, is made to look stupid by Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character. And it's just, I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, I guess you made what you wanted to make, but my God, if Hollywood were to die, it's going to be, people like Phoebe Waller-Bridge. They killed it with this kind of bullshit. This is god awful. It would be a 0 on our flesh wound scale for me.
I'm going back again. It isn't. I think Kory said it. We both said it. It's not an Indiana Jones movie. Whether I was entertained or not for a moment, it's more depressing. I would have rather not it happen. Had it happened.
I don't know how we forgot about National Treasure.
I thought that was mentioned earlier. That was what was going to be said when we were talking about other ones.
Those were great movies. I absolutely loved both of those, and the closest thing I've seen to an Indiana Jones movie since, well, it was since before Crystal Skull and since Raiders. So, or not Raiders, Last Crusade.
Yeah, those are fun adventure movies. I mean, again, modern world, so they're like a little different than Indiana Jones, but I
But
think
they're
they
still
are
in the
fun.
same vein as Indiana Jones. It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah. I think so.
Well, I don't know if Jess has anything else he wants to say, or if he's
Just my dog's been furiously scratching my carpet for some reason, so they're all acting up tonight.
Jay. I don't think that's a good idea.
I
Just trying to be out there, bud.
Why don't we remake Temple of Doom with Nicolas Cage as Molaram? There is, you know what? I'm seeing another Nicolas Cage movie next week now, and it's called The Surfer, and it looks like full on Nick Cage. He actually shoves a live rat down somebody's throat in the trailer, so I'm eager. I'm eager. I think Eat the Rat is going to be on a t-shirt.
As far as your dog scratching at your carpet,
I don't know why.
just throwing it out there because there's a guy claiming to be the Mahdi, and if anybody has looked into the whole Islamic Antichrist theory, you would understand that that's not a good thing. So
He's trying to kill like the Islamic Antichrist right now.
no,
Good
he's
boy.
claiming to be the Mahdi, who is supposed to be Islam's Messiah. He's
Okay.
supposed to like gather all the Islamic armies and bring them against the West and the
Not if
Jews.
Nick
So
Cage has anything to say about it. He's got to feed this Mahdi guy the rat.
let's hope. Let's just hope that this guy's just full of shit. So
I'm sure, like most people, he is.
Jess, you got anything you wanted to add? You want to talk about the Mahdi?
I thought my mic was on. I said the Dial of Destiny is the Antichrist. If that's what I'd love
There
to
you
call it
go.
now. And I don't normally do this. Even in the shitty ones, I try to find official movies of franchises. I try to find a place for them in franchises that I love. But this one does not belong here. Indy 5. I don't care what all the naysayers again say about Crystal Skull. That is an indie movie.
Damn straight it is.
And this one is not.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say about that. Yeah.
All right. Well, we managed to make it through all 5 Indiana Jones movies, and very briefly talked about the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
And again, it's got video games, books. It does have a lot of media. It is a true franchise. If you haven't, go enjoy the first 4 indie movies. I'm sure your curiosity will lead you to 5, but if you can refrain, do so.
Just pretend like this one doesn't exist. I'm getting better at that. Like, there's a certain point where it's like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm not gonna force myself to believe, or to take this movie.
I can live with 4 existing. I'm like, all right, that wasn't very good, but I'm fine with how things ended up. It works well enough. But this one did hurt the overall legacy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I forget how many episodes they did for the TV show. I've only got volume 1, but each episode's like, I think each disc has like 2 episodes on it or something. So if you want more Indiana Jones, I mean, it's there. And actually, there's one episode that Harrison Ford actually stars in, or guest stars in.
Nice.
So, get a chance to check them out.
Yeah. Anyway, Dan, I guess, what do you got coming up on before Ben Grimm has? Anybody play the Indiana Jones video game that just came out on Xbox? It actually feels like a new movie. Has Tony Todd in it too. No, I haven't, but that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, that does sound like a lot of fun. I'm gonna have to look into it at least to see the footage. Especially if Tony Todd. My God, that does sound really cool.
I think the last Indiana Jones game I played was, I think it was Temple of Doom, but I don't even remember what system it was on. It might have been regular Nintendo.
Well, anyway, thank you everybody who's watching, and definitely thank you all who participated in the chat. Ben Grimm, Cliff Booth. I shouldn't have started naming. Jay the Stingray, Mrs. Channel. Jonathan was here. Dan, of course. Brian Trash.
Kory from S'mores Indoors.
Yes. Again, check out his show, Daily Ghost.
Yes, Daily Ghost. Acres of Movies.
And if I missed you, forgive me. I'm sure we got you all. It was flowing along.
Oh, and I did. have one
Jake.
thing to mention.
Jake from Slaughterport.
Our
Yes.
good buddy there.
Yes. One thing to mention, if you're a wrestling fan and you're in the Anaheim area in July, Kruger for Crimson Crown Wrestling is going to be going for the Supreme Violence Championship against Carnage in a body bag match where to win you have to put your opponent in a body bag and light it on fire. This has only been done one other time, I believe, and it involved, I believe, third-degree burns. So root for Kruger in July and go check out Crimson Crown Wrestling.
Heck
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So, anything else at Flesh Wound coming up even sooner?
Lots of movies, Flesh Wound features. We've got a lot of stuff dropping throughout a busy summer season.
Well, as always, we'll put that link below in the description.
Sweet.
So click on that and check that out. Kory, what we got going on this rest of this month?
We should have another Kory's Dead Time Gories supposed to be out this weekend. So the story is actually recorded. It's ready to go. We're just waiting on the artwork. And then we'll have one more episode of that. And then we've got our
in May.
Yes, in May. And then we'll have our season finale of the Horror Rumble next month, which we are doing what, Jess?
Oh. Is it the Romero zombie movies?
Oh,
It might be.
I have it written down somewhere.
Well, there you go.
I think it is.
We might need to dig up some They Rise footage for that.
I think so. Well, it'll save me filming anything now. So at least we'll have something. So yeah, check us out. Thank you to our subscribers, people watching. Look forward to the next one. And again, we'll see you later tonight, live on S'mores Indoors. So thanks again for watching. I think that's Kory.
I think that's it. You guys ready? Say good night.
Good night.